We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Raiders will be without star wide receiver Davante Adams and pass rusher Maxx Crosby for Sunday's game against the Browns. Adams is dealing with a hamstring injury while Crosby hurt his ankle. This will be the first game that Crosby misses in his 6-year tenure with the Raiders. Here's more from head coach Antonio Pierce speaking to the media earlier today.
What's the expectation for Maxx Crosby to play on Sunday?
He'll be out.
Davante Adams?
Out. Out.
Going back to that, this is no disrespect to Cleveland, and I don't mean it that way, but is this game more to you about the Raiders than the Browns?
Be honest, every game. I said that last week against Carolina. I didn't mean that disrespectful when I say that. It's always about us, right? We always got to worry about ourselves. We don't worry about who's not playing for the other team, what issues they're going through. We have our own, as I just announced right now. It's about us getting better and getting the best 11 out there and getting the best team ready, prepared to execute in situational football, end of half, in the game, and to play a full game with the effort and the passion that we've displayed.
You just mentioned, two of your best players are not going to be in this game, Michael Mayer, tight end. Opportunity for some younger players, other players to step up.
And we're excited about it. I mean, great opportunity. Harrison Bryant, right? Shanker, Brock Bowers. Feel good about those three. And then, you talked about Davante, but, you got, Jacoby Myers, who we really feel good about. And obviously, in most teams, he'll be there number one. And it's a great opportunity for him to go and show that as well. But collectively, nobody needs to be Davante Adams. I don't need another Davante. There's only one, right? I just need the best version of Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, T.J. Turner, and the rest of those receivers.
Is there any sense on Davante in terms of...
Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce speaking to the media today, confirming the news that Davante Adams and Maxx Crosby will be out for this weekend's game as they take on the Cleveland Browns. Let's welcome in our two-time Super Bowl champion, Brian McFadden, for more on this. B-Mac, two big losses for this Raiders team on either side of the football.
No question. No question. Two of their best players on their team, two guys that provide great leadership on and off the football field. They won't be in action. But this still is a winnable matchup, Jeremy, because the Raiders are dealing with injuries, but the same could be said for the Cleveland Browns as well, especially on their offensive line. They've been dealing with injuries since the start of the season. They haven't gotten any healthier just yet, and they still have been struggling. Also, when you look at what the Giants did against the Cleveland Browns last week, I think they had around 7 or 8 sacks. Heck, they're still sacking Deshaun Watson right now as I speak to you. That's how bad the Browns' offensive line has been because of their injuries. Now, it really hurts that you won't have Maxx Crosby in the lineup to be able to exploit some of those matchups in their favor. But now Tyree Wilson has to step up. Robinson has to step up. Christian Wilkins, guys got to step up because this is still a winnable matchup. They still have an opportunity to correct their wrongs and get back in the winning column against a team in the Cleveland Browns. Let's keep it real. They've been spiraling in the wrong direction as well. So when you talk about Antonio Pierce, just giving us that update, it's hard for me to not believe they prepared for this ball game without Maxx Crosby being in the lineup, without Davante Adams being in the lineup. So clearly they knew this was probably going to be a reality, and some of the other guys got the extra needed reps to be able to be acclimated to working with the ones. So I'm not saying they should be okay, but to my point, with all the injuries the Browns are dealing with on both sides of the football, this is still a winnable game for the Raiders, even without Davante Adams and Maxx Crosby.
Lots of injuries throughout the NFL for this early part of the season. I don't know if it's more or less than usual. Maybe it's recency bias, but it feels like it could be a little more. But obviously these two injuries for the Raiders are going to have a big impact for them, as we mentioned, on both sides of the football. It has resulted in a 2.5-point swing in terms of the line movement here, B-Mac. What are your thoughts on how that shift has occurred and your thoughts on this game? Do you expect it to be a tight one?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the line movement, hearing that Davante and Maxx will not participate in this ball game. But when you talk about what could actually happen in this game on Sunday, two things that needs to happen for the Raiders to win, right? They got to be smart with the football, protect the football, and they got to put pressure on Deshaun Watson. And then outside of that, not having Davante Adams in the lineup, someone else has to get those targets. Brock Bowers. I mean, we've seen flashes here or there from Brock, being a major contributor to their offense, but he has to have a huge say-so in the impact that the offense will provide with his ability to excel and make timely plays in the passing game. And then for the Cleveland Browns, They just got to find a way to protect their quarterback. Deshaun Watson has not been protected at all. Now, I stated earlier, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries on the offensive line, but he hasn't been protected. He's been uncomfortable. Can the Raiders put pressure on Deshaun Watson, or can the Browns offensive line unit protect Deshaun Watson to be able to go through his progressions and hit the wide open pass catcher? So this is a very, very intriguing matchup. You know, one and two teams that are trying to get back in the winning column, two teams that are dealing with injuries, the key players on either side of the football field. So even though there is line movement, to my point, this is still a winnable game for the Raiders, even without Davante Adams and Maxx Crosby.
One of these teams will get to 500. The other one will fall to 1. In the NFL, where Dallas Cowboys All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons has been diagnosed with a high ankle sprain. That's according to NFL Network. Dallas's All-Pro pass rusher injured during last night's win against the Giants had to be carted off the field. There is currently no timetable for Parsons' return. That's also per NFL Network. The Cowboys have 9 days off before their next game when they take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. All right, let's bring in Mr. Football Game Plan, Emery Hunt, for more on this. Emery, first of all, your reaction to this. Obviously not good news for the 2-2 Cowboys. They get the win last night, but it was costly.
Especially when it's a bittersweet victory, when we talked about the Cowboys not being able to stop the run all week long leading up into this ball game against the Giants, in which they did stop the run. They got the victory on the road within the division, but you lose your star defender. And what makes this thing troublesome for them long term, there's no Sam Williams, who's another outstanding pass rusher that's on IR. And DeMarcus Lawrence suffered an injury last night as well. So there's some concerns about how will they generate pass rush coming off the edge, because a lot of their pass rushing depth is injured, and also in Washington with Dan Quinn.
So how do you see the Cowboys defense adapting here without that star pass rusher, the injuries they do have, especially when they get to these high pressure situations? I mean, you mentioned what they did last night, finally stopping the run, but how do they adjust now?
Well, that's going to be the biggest key. You have to replicate what you saw last night. And quiet as kept, we got a great game last night from Mozzie Smith, the defensive tackle, whom they've been waiting to step up and play like a first-round pick. He did so last night. Everyone else subsequently played assignment sound football, so they filled the run game. The run fits rather well. They got guys on the ground. They made great open field tackles. If they can just play assignment sound football, they can be stable on defense. They lose some of their knockout punch without a Micah Parsons or even a DeMarcus Lawrence. But that's why you have the luxury of having an offense that can score the ball like Dallas can with their passing game. But they're going to need their defense to be assignment sound, alignment sound, and just do what they are supposed to do like they did last night. Fit the run gaps, make tackles when you have to, get off the field on third downs.
Any other names that kind of pop into mind as to who could step up and perhaps fill this void? Because this schedule they have, I mean, they've got the 9 days off before Pittsburgh, but it's not going to get any easier when you look at who else is coming. You got the Lions and the bye, the Niners and the Falcons coming in.
How about Marshawn Nealon, the rookie out of Western Michigan, who had a great Senior Bowl, had an excellent week at the Combine. And so this is someone they drafted that was going to be a part of that rotation. So, hey, young man, your time is up. The spotlight is bright.
Attention Raiders fans. Today we have some important news that will directly impact the Week 4 game against the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders will be without two of their biggest stars, Davante Adams and Maxx Crosby. Yes, you heard right. Both Adams and Crosby have been ruled out for this crucial game due to injuries. Adams is suffering from a hamstring issue and Crosby is dealing with an ankle injury. The offense has already struggled this season, and without Adams, things look even more complicated. So far, Adams has been key, racking up 209 yards and a touchdown in 3 games. However, there is no other receiver on the team that can match his impact. Therefore, players like Jakobi Meyers and rookie Brock Bowers will have to step up and take on a bigger role. But it's not just the offense that's struggling. On defense, Crosby's absence is equally concerning. With 3 sacks so far this season, Crosby has been an unstoppable force for the Raiders. Now, it will be the turn of other players, such as Christian Wilkins, to step up their game and show why he received a $1 million contract. The loss of these two figures is a hard blow for a team looking to improve its 1-2 record. However, hope is not lost yet. Can the Raiders overcome these absences and pull out the victory? Leave us your comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more updates. Go Raiders!